Hey guys, so this video will be on resistance bands. Basically, the premise of this video is just trying to explain why I like resistance bands, some basic exercises you can do, and just the theory, I guess, of resistance bands. Theory sounds a bit too clever, to be honest, especially for me. Yeah, just kind of like why I think they're good and why I think they are different than normal weighted exercises, and why they might be good specifically for people that might have issues with some exercises as well. I have issues with certain exercises, with painful shoulders and things. So yeah, I think they are very good. I don't think enough people know about using resistance bands. So I'll be waffling a lot, so forgive me for that. But yeah, let's get started. So the first exercise that I will be doing, well, it's an exercise and a warm-up. That's one reason why I specifically like it. This exercise is one of my favourites, actually. It's one of the most simple, but it's also one of my favourites. So basically, it's a chest expansion. So you hold your arms out straight, have a little bend in your arms like that, a little bit wider than shoulder width, like that. Straight out in front of you, elbows pointed down slightly, and stretch out to your chest, like that. Now the main thing you have to keep in mind with resistance bands is that you have to be very aware of the reverse motion. I'm going to use that term, it's a bit weird. So it's not all about the contraction of the muscle. It's very much about catching it, squeezing the band, and controlled back as well. Very controlled release. So both ways are as important as each other. And I find that that is a very specific thing with resistance bands. With all these exercises I'm going to show, is that both ways, both motions are as important as each other. And that way you can be very precise and you can be very controlled. And that's where it can be different than a normal weighted exercise, where it feels like you more like drop the weight a little bit. That's why I find resistance bands can be better when you have a slight sore like shoulder or something like that, or knee, is you can keep that tension consistent, so you're not yanking, yanking the joint. Squeeze, hold, release. So that's the first exercise. Fantastic for warming up the rear delt, the rear shoulder here, and obviously the upper back as well. But it gets the blood pumping a little bit as well. I mean, you can do it dynamically if you want as well. So you can squeeze, fast, catch, and release like that. So that's the first one. Just wait 1 second before he blathers on anymore. I watched the video again, obviously editing it. I do understand that I'm not the best with camera angles, and I cut my head off so you can't see my head and things like that, which isn't such a bad thing to be fair. My feet off sometimes, things like that. So yeah, it's just a learning process. I'm really new to this, obviously. I just wanted to get started on it really. So yeah, you'll have to bear with me. Things are going to be a bit rough around the edges and a bit sloppy, but you can carry on now. So moving straight into the second exercise, you do this usually straight after warming up with the chest expansions. Now basically you grip the resistance band like a skipping rope basically, but you won't see me skipping, trust me, ask any of my friends. Step on it, like you, again, similar to a skipping rope. Well, I'd be stepping on a skipping rope at least. In front, slightly widen the shoulder width apart. Pull up like that, slowly release down. Now another thing to remember, you keep that tension. So the starting point's here, but I'm coming back down to there. And you can also do it dynamically again by fast up, catch it, bring it slowly down. A great variation to this as well, if you're really struggling with your shoulders, like I have fibromyalgia, I know other people that have fibromyalgia, and they might struggle with that extended tension on the band. So you just sit down and do it like this. and you can vary how hard it is so easily from holding it high and just keeping it limited range of motion, get the blood in the muscles, or you can hold it lower down, which is going to shorten the band and make it harder, and like that, get that tension really ramped up. So that's a really good one. I usually do that straight away after the first one. So I'm going to move on to the chunky bands now. Yeah, so we're going to start with the squat. Now the issue with the squat is I feel like it's more of an advanced exercise with the resistance bands. I'll explain why and I'll show why as well. Is that you're not starting from your traditional squat position. Obviously the start point normally would be standing, no brainer, and then you go down, pause, up. Now you're not starting from this point, you're starting from halfway through it. You're starting from here. Now when you're starting halfway through a motion of an exercise, you have to be very aware of how that should feel and where you should be. You can't just set up like you normally do and then go through the motion. You've got to actually understand how it should feel. So you need to really be used to that exercise very much. So I would say do this exercise when you're used to squatting. Do the bodyweight exercise squats that I did in the other video, the ones above the head, so you get used to the squeeze, getting used to feeling that squeeze in the hip flexor, getting control, your knees over your toes, everything like that. So get the band like this, hold it so there's loops, like that. Now, this is the important bit. You have to imagine in your head that you're doing a normal squat and that you're in that position where you're coming back up. So you squeeze with your hips, push with your feet, feel it in your quads. Like that. As I said, it's very important to be stable here. Now you can get used to feeling that, say by doing a seated squat. By doing it here and then back up, here and back up, and at that point you're pausing and you're not in any danger of falling on your backside or anything, so you can feel the muscles that you need to keep contracted. Quickly moving on to the next exercise, using pretty much a very similar setup, is the deadlift with a band. Now the one thing you have to be aware of, let's quickly do this. So slide your feet in like this, get it so it feels comfortable, and then slide your feet out so you feel tension, and point your toes out to get it nice and firm so it's not wobbling around and you feel comfortable. The one thing you have to be aware of for people that are used to deadlifting in a gym is that this has to be a sumo, wide leg stance basically, because your feet are the anchor points for the band and the weight. If you had them close together, you get no resistance because the band all floppy and you can't deadlift from up here. So you have to have a sumo stance. And again, it's not too bad. You could use the chair to get used to it, get your legs out like that, and also you can get your elbows in between your knees like that, and you can really feel that you're in the right position. Toes pointed quite far out and knees in line with the toes at all times. Squeeze your back in, chest out, head up, looking forward, and now you push into the ground. You don't pull first, you push in with your heels, push, and then pull. So you push and pull like that. Now another reason I like this exercise is it's easy to make harder. So you can warm up with one band, or then you can get both of the bands, get the same position. Ooh. And that is a pretty decent resistance for a working set. You know, this is great for reps. You probably do a higher volume than you would with a normal deadlift, but that's absolutely fine. You can get the mind-muscle connection with all the muscles that you need and get that pump and the blood going around. Again, I find this quite good for hip issues. If you do it very controlled, with a reasonably light band and just really focus on keeping the hips engaged. Just like that. You don't have to be too dynamic. And then on the flip side of it, you can be very dynamic, where you get the band, get all set up, and really go up fast. Back down. Back down. And you can whip up a sweat in no time doing it like that. So yeah, really good exercise. So one reason I like resistance bands, don't worry, I'm not actually a resistance band salesman or anything, I'm not going to put loads of adverts down below, is that I feel like they're not just an exercise tool. Like a lot of these exercises I'm doing, you can do them at a low level with a resistance band, and it's almost like a stretch rather than an actual full-on exercise. Like, say, even the deadlift, if you did it sitting on a chair, you know, and did it with a light resistance band, you're almost doing a stretch. Now, say if somebody's got a back issue or something like that, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not telling people with really bad backs to do, you know, crazy things. But just for an example, you would never go and tell them to do a deadlift. They would not be able to do it. Whereas with something like a resistance band deadlift, you could sit on a chair and just get that blood going into the back. And I find it can be quite healing. I found that with me personally, there's a lot of things where I've actually been able to do them now, like bench pressing, because of doing some resistance bands. I wouldn't be able to do it without the resistance band sort of like therapy, for want of a better word. But anyway, I'm waffling on. But yeah, I just wanted to say that. So I'm just going to show you quickly the hooks I have up in my garage that I've put up. Now, you don't need hooks, but if you can get something that's similar, that'd be fantastic. But there are obviously ways to, you know, anchor them in your house, but you have to be very sure that it's solid and it's not going to move. I actually put my band around one of the banisters yesterday, and the noise it was making, I actually wasn't very comfortable with it. So yeah, you've got to test it first, make sure that you're safe. So this next exercise, using my handy hook point here, is going to be a seated row. I'm going to use a seated row because it keeps you stable. Make sure that you've got it anchored to a point that is really strong and you've tested, and that it doesn't make lots of horrible noise and it's not going to flick off and whack you in the face. Because although the bands aren't going to hurt you, if you break something and it comes flying off in your house, it might. Or if you land on your backside. So with this one, sit down, make sure your back's tucked in, that your shoulders are back, your chest is out, and pull in. With your elbows slightly pointing downward, but they can point out just slightly downward. And if you want to make it any harder, it's quite easy. You can literally just hold the band further up, shorten the band length, and instantly, oh, that is a lot harder. And that is another reason why band workouts I find really good, because it's easy to change the resistance. And if you want a light workout, you can just like use one length and just do that, or you can double them up. Another quick exercise I'm going to show you using the hook is tricep push down. Very simple. If you've ever done it in the gym, make sure that your elbows are locked to your sides and that you force through. The one variation I would say with resistance bands is I find this is quite good done a little bit more dynamically, as in push harder down, release slower, fast down, slower up, like that. I would say that works quite well. Again, you'll get a lot of wobble, but that's fine. Just make sure that you catch it and you don't just let the band flick up again and whiplash you in the face. You don't want a nose that looks like mine, trust me. Moving quickly on, another really straightforward exercise you can do is the bicep curl. Again, step into it. Hold it like a normal bicep curl like this, thumbs out that way. Elbows to the side, just moving this portion of the arm. Just like that. Again, you want to squeeze it, hold it, and release slowly. Remember, the reverse motion is as important, especially with bicep curls. I found that even with normal weights, is that the reverse is almost where you get more of the burn a lot of the time. And obviously, you certainly don't want to whack yourself, guys, for sure. Okay, moving on to the next exercise, the bent over row. Very good with the band. Step inside. You want to feel confident with this position. So again, you could use the chair to get set up if you wanted, like this, lean forward, squeezing this portion of your hips like a spring. Now, you want to come up, but you don't want to fully raise your back up. You just pull, not to your face, but to your stomach. Elbows tucked backwards so that you don't round your shoulders. Just like that. And then obviously, if you want to make it harder, grab both sides of the band. Just like that. Fantastic. So the next exercise that I'm going to do is one that you find hard to do in a home workout without a band, I think. Is a chest press, basically, a seated chest press. So what you want to do, get the band around your back, get it underneath your elbow, tucked up under there, so it doesn't move around. It's good to have a hoodie on so it doesn't rub against your skin. And then hook your thumbs in, like this. Now, it can be quite a lot of tension on the ligaments there, so you can, if you can see, wrap your hand in like that. Sit back in the chair, shoulders back, chest out, you know, come on, bring it on, lads, like that. And then push. Elbows tucked down a bit, and depress your shoulders backwards, so you don't want to do this, you don't want to hunch over, that's really bad for your shoulders. One thing you will notice with this exercise, and it's the same with all these, but specifically with this one, is that when you get to that point, the band just wants to bring it back, just wants to whiplash straight back. So it's safe, it's a safe exercise, but you have to be very conscious of that. So ready for it, and catch it, and release, or bring it back, should I say, not release. Bring your arm back, and be focused. What you will find with this exercise is that your arms will feel like they're shaking a lot. Well, mine do anyway, maybe that's just me. But that's not a bad thing, as long as you're making sure that you catch it, it doesn't whiplash you back. It's using the stabilizing muscles, basically. So you've got to stabilize it more than the machine at the gym. So it's actually a good thing, really. One of the last exercises I want to show you is the assisted pull-up. Now this one, you will need, obviously, something very similar to this. It's hard to really replicate this without having some kind of bar or, you know, sturdy hooks to, obviously, because you're pulling yourself up. But yeah, you could try and use something else. It depends on your house, but again, really test it first. I mean, do not start swinging around on things. A good way to test is just to grab and just lower yourself a little bit and just see if it takes your weight. But again, unless you're certain, just don't do it unless it's something nice and sturdy like this. So this one, hook it over, pull it down, get your foot in like this, get your other foot in like this, get yourself in position, little hop, and depress your scapulars like this. So you want to depress first before you pull up. So you want to basically be in this position with your shoulders back. So you're not pulling like the hunchback of Notre Dame. So you've got your chest sticking out, your chin up, and here we go. 1, 2. It assists, but it doesn't take the weight away from you. Because when it's most stretched out is when it's got the most tension under it. So at the top of the pull-up, you're actually pretty much got your whole weight on you. It just gives you that extra assistance so you can focus on the muscles. You see people swinging around all over the place just trying to get themselves up, and that's no good. You're going to be hurting yourself. So yeah, this one is absolutely fantastic.
I think I actually started doing this the other day because I literally tried to pull up without it and it felt like somebody tied a truck around my waist, honestly. It was ridiculous. So yeah, just for giggles, let's try one without the band. Okay, to press. Oh goodness me, like a baby rhino.
So yeah, I'm going to probably leave it there today, just because there's so many different exercises you can do, and it will be like a 2-hour video if I don't at least cut it at some point. So yeah, obviously I'll be doing more videos on it, and probably more focused videos on certain exercises as well. I would just like to add as well that with these videos, I really want to be, I know it sounds cheesy, but I want to be helping people basically. I know what it's like to try and work out with weaknesses and things that maybe some people don't have to deal with, but then there's people dealing with things I'm not having to deal with, obviously. But you know, very interested in comments from people that would like different variations of exercises that might help them, just advice in general for different questions in general for keeping relatively fit, because I don't want this to be about people that just want to get crazy super fit. Fair enough, if you want to get crazy super fit, that's awesome. You know, you can do that with these exercises, but I want it to be doable for people that maybe haven't even gone in a gym. You know, if they got fibro like me, they'd be like, well, there's no way I can do that. So you know, there are ways that no matter your situation, there are levels of exercises for you, you know, just for quality of life, and that's what I really care about, and that's kind of why I started doing these videos. It's just helping people out. So hope you enjoyed the video. Do comment down below, because I'd love to know people's individual questions and needs. Really, take care of yourselves. Cheers.